So our disease is the bird flu or avian influenza. So you can, as you can see from the disease triangle, the hosts are mainly aquatic birds because they're the most susceptible and they easily pass the virus on to poultry. So poultry can mean chickens, turkeys, hens, any type of chicken or any type of bird that you would eat. The pathogen for this virus is influenza A virus. Now, there are different H strands of this, but influenza A is the main virus and pathogen for this. It is a it's a RNA. It targets the RNA and the birds, and it's easily transmittable between them through direct contact or indirect contact as well. And the best environment for this is water, meaning aquatic birds get it mostly, and poultry markets or farms. They are very crowded. They have a lot of a big community of birds, different types of birds, in every setting and every environment. So this is the disease triangle.
Avian influenza life cycle. To the figure to the left, avian influenza life cycle at the cellular level starts with the virus attaching to the outside of the cell, then being penetrated into the cell, uncoating the virus, then the virus infiltrating the nucleus and replicating, then the replication's assembly in the cell, and then being released by the cell to infect multiple other cells. Then the figure to the right, avian influenza, is pictured in the environmental level, with host birds showing how the infected feces spread from original host into the ground and the plants, and then being picked up by other new hosts and species.
When thinking about the disease chain of infection, it gives a more in-depth way of showing how the spreads work. So if you're looking at it, first we have like the agent or the pathogen, which is the bird flu itself, a type A influenza virus that, it evolves quickly without the proper control. Okay, then the reservoir is typically the wild bird, the geese, the ducks, or the shorebirds, which carry the virus without much sickness. The port of exit is through their droppings, the saliva, or their nasal secretions. The mode of transmission happens when the healthy birds come into direct or indirect contact with these secretions, like through their water, through their food, or equipment, especially if it's contaminated. So that leaves the portal entry open for a new host to come in with these contaminations through their nose, their mouth, or their eyes, allowing them to become defected with this disease. So, a susceptible host can be a domestic chicken, a turkey, or even a human who's in close, sustained contact with infected birds. This shows us how easily bird flu can just be moved from wild birds to just a whole new population. And while we need to prevent and control measures to break this chain.
So when it comes to breaking the chain of infection, there are multiple ways you can break the chain. One way is through biosecurity measures, so that's limiting access to poultry farms and cleaning and disinfecting equipment, clothing, and footwear. So it's important to clean and disinfect your equipment since bird flu can live up to a month depending on the surface. And another way is to separate wild and domestic birds. So you keep poultry indoors or covered and prevent contact with birds and their droppings. And it's essential to do this during cold and wet conditions as the virus can live longer, up to weeks and months during these conditions versus when it's warm or dry. And a third way is safe handling, so wearing gloves and masks when dealing with birds, and also washing hands after contact. It's important to wash your hands and just wear gloves so you won't cross-contaminate when you're dealing with a sick bird versus a a non-infected bird. And also it's important to wear a mask since the virus is airborne. So when the birds are flapping their feathers, or if there is any other way for the virus to get into the air, it's important to wear the mask so it won't get into your respiratory system. And then the fourth way is surveillance and rapid response. So monitoring flocks for signs of illness and report and cull infected birds quickly. And essentially culling birds is just to euthanize the infected birds. Since when they are infected, there is no treatment for them currently. So it's important to cull all of the birds once infected to help with the spread. And the last way is through vaccination. So research show that vaccination can control the spread of the deadly virus. And many countries have started to do this. However, in the US, they have resisted vaccination. And that's possibly because vaccinated animals can show no signs of disease, even if they are infected with the virus. So that is why it's important to still do biosecurity measures and control the spread of the disease, since the vaccine won't be a replacement for culling and biosecurity measures.